Tina is a young woman from mainland China. She practices Falun Gong, a traditional Chinese spiritual discipline that is Buddhist in nature. In 1999, the Chinese government banned the practice. Some in the Communist Party felt that its popularity posed a threat to their grip on power. Tens of millions of Chinese citizens were branded criminals overnight. Tina, along with countless others, travelled to Beijing to appeal against the ban. There she was arrested and spent almost 3 years in prison and in labour camps, where she was beaten and tortured.
On July 20th, 1999, the Communist Party issued orders that no one was allowed to practice Falun Gong anymore. I heard that many Falun Gong practitioners went to Beijing to appeal to the central government. In the year 2000, I decided to go to Beijing too. I decided to go to Tiananmen Square instead. When I got there, I shouted, "Falun Gong is good!" I was soon arrested and taken to the Tiananmen police station. When I decided to go to Tiananmen Square, I knew beforehand I might be arrested or imprisoned. But I felt that, as a Falun Gong practitioner, I must be truthful, compassionate and tolerant, and I must be an upright person. To me that means I have nothing to hide and should not live in the shadows. Because Falun Gong is being persecuted, Falun Gong practitioners have a responsibility to inform those who have been lied to by the Chinese Communist Party. That's why I went to Tiananmen Square. My first hunger strike lasted 6 days and nights. I didn't eat or drink anything. I was nothing but skin and bones. I was so weak I could only walk by leaning on the wall. On the 7th day, the guards began monitoring me intensely. Someone took me to a secret room and force-fed me soy milk with a very thick plastic tube. The tube was forced in through my nose. When they pulled the tube out, it was covered in blood. The pain was extreme. On the night of March 19th, 2001, the prison guards played music over the loudspeakers that mocked and criticised Falun Gong. They made all the Falun Gong practitioners stand up. I'll show you the position they made us stand in to torture us. It was like this. It was so tiring. Our legs were straight and we had to bend forward at a right angle from the waist, with our hands on the back of our heads. We were not allowed to move at all. A piece of paper was placed on the floor next to our feet by the guards, with a slanderous statement about Falun Gong printed on it. The guards walked through all the cells in the prison holding electric shock clubs. Any prisoner who became too tired to hold the position correctly was forced to sign the slanderous statement or tortured with electric shocks. After holding that position for 30 minutes, I could hardly continue. Whenever the police went out of the room, I took the opportunity to rest for a bit. By midnight, some practitioners who couldn't take the torture anymore had given in and signed the statement. The police told us they would make us hold this position for a week unless we signed the statement. But by 10 a.m. the next morning, they ended the torture. On another occasion, a female prison officer locked me in a metal cage and forced me to stand. They made me stand for 7 days and 7 nights. On the 3rd night, I couldn't stand anymore. I kept falling backwards. I fell whenever I tried to stand. I pleaded with the prisoner who was in charge of watching me. I asked her to let me rest when the police left the room. The prisoner, seeing the state I was in, sympathised with me and said, "Okay, you take a rest." From then on, whenever I could not stand anymore, I took a short rest. It was the only way I could manage to do it for so long. In the labour camp, we worked from 6:20 a.m. to 9 p.m. In summer, we worked from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Well, officially we worked to 9 p.m, but in reality it was until 10 p.m. and sometimes until midnight. When working in the labour camp, we had to fulfil a quota, which was unreasonably high. Most prisoners could not achieve their quota. When this happened, we were forced to work late or forced to stand while we worked.
干活速度最快的人的那个，在11月份的时候呢。
In April of 2009, I arrived in Australia. In November 2009, I was given a protection visa, which is similar to having permanent residency. I'm grateful to the Australian government for assisting me, for allowing me to stay in this land of freedom where I can practice my freedom of belief. I hope the people of the world will take notice of the persecution of Falun Gong, as it is against humanity. I hope the Chinese people will raise their voices to stop this persecution.
反中共学员被迫害的情况，因为这是极不人道的，也希望呢，能够人们能够。